We are live. Hello and welcome to Lunar Reflections. This is our astrology show where we discuss the current transits, sharing our real life stories from our lives, from clients' lives, from experiences that we've seen around us, helping you and us to connect with the moon on a deeper level. And of course, today, as you all know, is the Scorpio full moon.
Scorpio
Happy full moon. Happy full
moon.
moon. So we're going to be talking about seeing our shadows and revealing them, working with them, and exposing other people's shadows and all of that
That's
Scorpio
fun.
kind of things, right? It's very Scorpio energy. Let us know how you're feeling, because things are wild right now.
Yeah, and here we are today. Today is the full moon, so grab your charts. Full moon's at 11 degrees of Scorpio. Grab some armor as well. I've been rolling my On Guard rollerball on me all day, just extra protection. Grab your crystals for protection. But all of y'all fixed signs out there, Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, Aquarius. We got some big energies here for y'all. Aries, Gemini. I mean, there's just about something for everyone inside of this full moon here. So there's quite a bit going on. We'll definitely talk about that inside of the show.
Absolutely. And hello, Beth. Welcome. Hello, Soul Tribe. Welcome, everyone. Happy Scorpio full moon. And indeed, you are in the right place, Beth. Don't worry. But yeah, if you don't know who I am, my name is Jake. I am a hypnotherapist. I'm your quantum guide to connect with your higher self. And I work a lot with hypnosis in my practice, past lives, future lives, quantum healing hypnosis technique, all about helping you to connect with you and find your inner knowing, your path forward, clearing the past, whatever it might be. Work a lot of different ways. If you're interested in working with either of us, reach out, let us know. We would love to. And Pumpkin Spice Princess, great to see you too. Hello, hello.
Hey, PSP.
Hello. Welcome.
And my name's Corbin. I'm a natal astrologer. I love using Hellenistic techniques to kind of break down astrology, help people understand about the natal promise and about all the karma that's delineated inside of the birth chart. I also love cycle work. We're going to do a little bit of cycles today, but I love looking at transits in different periods of time to help understanding what chapter of what phase and what era we're in. It's a lot of fun to kind of break down that way. So yeah.
Yeah, Beth, you're on the vertical one. So if you go to the channel.
Hi, Vertical.
Hey, Vertical. Hello, friends. StreamYard still doesn't quite have the formatting easy to do. So the vertical is just like the squeezed down version of us. So we try to lean in, we try to give you the good view of our faces. But if you are on the vertical and you want to see the landscape view, go to the channel and click on the other version of this.
But YouTube really loves to promote the vertical. So
they do.
We're not surprised you're there.
Yes, they do love to promote the vertical.
Faucet story part 2. Yeah, right.
Oh my god, yeah. If y'all missed my antics last night, definitely go check out the other show. It was fun. And part 2 to the faucet story, or I guess kind of like the sharing more about our journey with the house, is coming next week. Corbin and I are going to hop on and talk more about that. And yay, Jody brought her chart. Wonderful.
Welcome, Jody.
Wonderful. Welcome, Jody. So good to see you.
Happy Beltane to anyone watching. I don't know if anyone is having a bonfire tonight.
Yeah, I really want to get out there and do a bonfire.
Wearing a flower crown. Maybe you made a flower crown. But, Beltane, it's kind of that midpoint between the equinox, the spring equinox, and the summer solstice. So there's a lot of like traditional Taurian themes like fertility that are associated with Beltane. But it's just a really potent full moon today because it's definitely a day with one of those 8 Sabbats where, the veil's a little bit thinner. So double excitement on this Scorpio full moon today, matching and lining up with Beltane.
Indeed.
We have a couple announcements before we get into everything. So y'all heard Jake's great faucet story yesterday. Just a reminder that we are sharing some of our new home antics, excitement, fun adventures on Instagram. You can check out our handle there at our 1953 home, because that's when he was built in 1953. And Jake, you have a few things coming up.
I do. I was going to find our, can I do that from here? I should have pulled this up beforehand. I was going to pull up our 1953 home. I think I can do it. Give me just a moment. Yeah, there we go. I found it. So I'm going to put it in the chat for you guys. Go follow our Instagram page because more to come on our home adventures there. Still getting the page up and running, just like figuring out what we're doing with it. But follow along for more insight into that. As far as news and updates coming from me, subscribe so that you don't miss the full session coming out next week. I'm doing a full session exploring the future with Jennifer again. Some of you know Jennifer. She's been around. She's a friend of the show, friend of the channel. And we went 25 years ahead. So a little bit of a closer window. And it was really surprising the changes that we saw. And I feel like people are talking about the exponential changes and things happening quickly. But I wasn't necessarily expecting the quickness at which we saw it. So check the full session out coming out next week. We'll get that up as soon as possible. Beyond that, make sure you head to my bookings page. I'm going to share that in the chat as well, because one, if you're interested in manifesting your own dream home, come have a future session with me. We can future vision that possibility, that timeline for you, get you insights into how to build that future, how to move towards it. And so it's really, I mean, the future vision sessions that I did, that Corbin did, like definitely helped us to clarify our vision and get to this point, get to being in this new space, in this home. And so it works. I mean, it's really powerful stuff. So you can always book a future session with me. I also have on my bookings page, if you scroll down to group events, I am doing a Pleiadian Soul Family reunion event, which is why I wore my Pleiadian Starseed shirt today. I'm doing a Pleiadian event coming up on the 23rd of May. So about 3 weeks away. And that's going to be a really fun experience to connect with your star family, connect with your parallel lifetimes, connect with your guides. I think a lot of us in this soul tribe feel a connection to the Pleiadians. I think their presence is really very present on the earth at this time, and they really want to interact with us and support us, whether they be in that form of guides or parallel selves or star family. So however you connect with that energy, if you're interested in connecting more, interested in joining like-minded folks to connect, grab a ticket. It's a really good deal, and it's going to be a fun 90-minute session experience. So grab a ticket to that event.
It sounds like the most fun family reunion that there's going to be this summer. I mean, family reunions kind of have their ups and downs, right? But I feel like a family reunion of the Pleiadians, it's one you don't want to miss.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. I love this comment from PSP.
Yeah,
listened to our show yesterday and thinks Maximilian was testing our intentions. I think there was a little bit of a test in there too. Yeah. I think testing your metal, right? That was one of the phrases that came to me as we were cleaning. So yeah, I definitely think that vibe is for real. And please hit the like button. Show us your love. Show us your love. Okay, cool. News.
Grab your Scorpio stinger and sting that like button.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, so funny. So funny. All right, y'all. Let's get into it. So as always, let us know how you're feeling, what's been going on in your life. The full moon's today. So like you're in that energy. It's happening to you. Like the things that are going on in your life are showing these energies, expressing them in some way, shape, or form. And so it might not look like our stories or the stories from our clients or like what's going on in the world stage, but it will look unique to you. So definitely let us know what's going on in your life as we talk through these themes.
Well, and it's part of that sharing that helps to complete like a bigger mandala of everything that's going on, right? I mean, again, we do all experience this in slightly different ways, but hearing these other ways in which the astrology manifests helps us to gain a deeper understanding of it all. And I love this work because I always say it helps me to see the master's plan as it's unfolding. That's really what I love about astrology, is that like you can kind of, if you tune in and listen enough, you just begin to see the plan as it's unfolding, or the golden cords as they're being woven together, whatever, analogy you want to use. So yeah, always with a Scorpio moon, though, like the first thing that we're going to go to here for sure is the idea and the topic of shadow. Scorpio
Mhm.
is definitely one of the more emotionally driven signs, right? It's a water sign and it's ruled by Mars and modern ruler Pluto, definitely with the association of the underworld. And so this is prime time for definitely some difficult topics to come up. Like if you have a Scorpio moon inside of your natal chart, you definitely understand what it means to wrangle with your emotions.
Mhm.
And I've really been hearing from a lot of folks this week where it sounds like as this moon has been coming in, that we've kind of been stumbling around in the dark a little bit, that, maybe we've been shown a side of ourselves that we don't necessarily love to see. And definitely, it feels like a lot of these things are coming up right now at this time. One of the best parts about Scorpio is this insight, this reflection, this look into your inner mind or psyche or what is driving you can help you to understand yourself on a deeper level and then connect with that version of you that is for your best and highest good. I keep thinking about the topic of the Phoenix rising. And while Scorpio can definitely talk about being in the graveyard, being in the dumps, death, and dying and decay, there's also this brilliance that comes from being reborn on the other side. But a lot of it does start with seeing your shadow.
One, it's funny when you were talking about like stumbling your way around in the shadows. I got the image of like a sensory deprivation tank where like when your perception of the outside is taken away or when you can't see beyond, the your hand in front of your face, you can't see it, then you're forced to go inward. You're forced to find your way like through internally rather than like seeing your way out, right? It's an interesting time right now
Mhm.
for sure. And yeah, the feelings that people have been going through, I think, have been intense. Intense has been a word that's definitely been tossed around by
It's
a
been
lot
an
of people.
intense week.
And I think when we face our shadows, it tends to be intense work. I mean, it's no surprise that Scorpio is associated with that intensity with the shadow work that comes along because it's not always easy to see the darker parts of you because we tend to ignore those parts or look at other places first rather than
Mhm.
facing those parts of ourselves, right?
Mhm. And on this axis that Scorpio is on, conjoined with Taurus on the other side, right? It's back to that idea of we have a beautiful garden full of lush plants and fruits that you can eat. And then we have like a stinky garbage pile compost thing that's like breaking down. And yeah, I'd probably go to the grassy garden too. Um, but it might be a great question to ask yourself right now if you're, maybe shadow isn't popping up for you, but maybe there's something in your life that is starting to die or fade
Mm,
away or diminish. And maybe on the flip side of that, there is something that's starting to come alive that is enlivening you, that's invigorating you, that's starting to grow. This can really point to those places where you need to do some of the release and to the areas where you need to be opening up for more to be coming in. To talk about what's going on for myself, I have my midheaven is Scorpio, and I had my work review this week. And so there is definitely a moment inside of that where there were some things reflected back at me that I don't always see in myself, and maybe some things that I'm not always the most proud of. But, right now, inside of this full moon, I think about the position of Venus. Venus is in Gemini right now. So some of the things that we're
mm,
learning about inside of relationships is how it is for the other person, how someone else is presenting a different perspective or a different idea. And so it was really important for me, even though the feedback was a little bit difficult, to kind of take it in and think about it and think about what it is reflecting on this deeper level. Why do those feelings come up for me? What does that mean? And what's really interesting is about water and reflection. We live on a river now, so I'm thinking about water a whole bunch.
mm.
And the darker the water is, the more that it's clouded, the more that it's been stirred up, the more clearly you can see your reflection when you're looking against it or when you're looking into it. But if the water is really, really clear, you don't see anything. That's like definitely like very metaphorical for what's going on right now. The more shadow that you are shown, the more that you're able to see those darkest, deepest aspects of yourself that you might not work at honoring or embracing or loving. And it's definitely important as we're transmuting and healing shadow to be providing compassion, empathy, emotional understanding for those parts of you. And so I just think that, there's a lot into delving into the depths of yourself. You get to find some of that inner light, and that can often be, in my opinion, the catalyst to kind of bring you back above water so that you're no longer submerged, or you come out of the cave. And it is that idea of phoenix rising or being reborn. Like, what does that mean for me on a deeper level? And what am I going to do about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Wanted to say hi to Kyla. Good to see
Hey,
you. Thanks for
Kyla.
popping in. Sending you love. You've been on our mind too. All right. Yeah. And I really have been, I don't know. I feel like this week for me has been a weird one. Scorpio is my second house. And a lot of what's been coming up for me has been beliefs, mostly in the form of like old beliefs that are clinging on. I was talking with a friend today about how I like this relocation, this moving house, like I thought that it would be like more of an instantaneous change. And I'm finding some of my old patterns and habits still clinging on. And it's like, wait, but I'm in a new place. Why am I anxious in the old way? Or wait, why am I spinning in circles the way that I used to? Like I'm supposed to be moving in a different way now. And I feel like some of these old patterns, these patterns that I'm trying to move past are coming up so that I can move into a new layer of healing, like uncover a new, like, peeling back the onion layers, right? You peel back one and then you're like, oh, there's another one under this. Okay, gotta peel that one back too. And it's not that the healing's never done or that you never can move past something, but especially when there are these big lessons in your life, these things in your natal chart that really do have an effect on you, you're going to experience that energy in lots of different ways throughout your life most of the time. I mean, there's not a whole lot of things that are like one and done, because we do live in cyclical energies. We live in this we live in a world of patterns and in a world of cycles. And so when we talk about what is dying and what's taking its place, I feel like I've been really called this week to be like, no, that's not what I'm doing now. I'm doing this. Like these are my new beliefs. These are my new ways of being. I've talked a lot recently about belief in self, like the self-worth stuff that I've been going through, and this is really a moment where I think the astrology is highlighting for me like my need to step into a stronger belief in self, step into a belief in my gifts and my abilities in a new way, so that I can make that shift and I can step into this new way of being that I'm meant to be stepping into. But you gotta, what is this? Slough off the old. You have to shed the skin to step into the new. And I feel like I had a moment this week that really like helped me to realize like what I needed to do, because I had a session for the first time in a long time. I got together with Jennifer and it was my turn to regress her. Or progress her, I suppose. We went to the future. So I sent her off into the future and I was asking my questions and guiding the journey. And it was really a moment where like I came out of that session like glowing again. Like I was like electrified. I was charged up. I was excited. I was filled up. And it was like in amongst all of this like tough emotional stuff, it's like that light shined and it was like, oh yeah, this is what I'm meant to be doing and doing more of this. And so I can't remember if we were talking about this in regards to this show or a different one, but the idea of like following your internal flame, following your passion, and that can lead you out of the dark. So yeah, those are some of my thoughts about kind of like what's been going on for me. You might have Scorpio in your second, you might not, but you're probably going through some level of grappling with your shadow, grappling with, you know, the shadow aspects of you,
or realizing that something isn't working and functioning in the way that you would, and that it is kind of symbolically dying too, you know. And so looking at that Scorpio house inside of your chart is going to give you a great indication. This might also be really noticeable inside of your Aries house as well, just because Mars, the traditional ruler of Scorpio, is in Aries right now. These are the two Mars signs too. So there's really a lot of Martian energy that is drawing in the attention right now. So, you know, it's Taurus season. It hasn't quite felt like everyone has taken that moment of respite yet. I think with the Aries stellium that's going on right now with, oh gosh, what is it? Neptune, Saturn, Mars, Mercury, Chiron. You don't need to pull it up. It's fine. That, you know, there is still so much energy inside of that area of the chart right now. It might really be the activation that's happening there. And I just heard from a Scorpio rising before we got into the show, who I've talked with a little bit recently, just because they've been going through some career changes that have gone back a couple months now. And on the other side of this career shift, she shared with me, oh my gosh, you know, I am the Phoenix rising. Like, you know, I kind of thought, oh, I have a Scorpio calling me on the Scorpio full moon. This is going to be really interesting. What is going to come up? And I heard, oh, you're the Phoenix rising. This is beautiful. This is beautiful, because a lot of people have been stressed out. But, you know, just a reminder that the turn to the inside truly is a call, like Jake was saying, to kind of find that inner light and to be guided in a new way going forward. Once you are in that new lane, oh my goodness, you know, because that's kind of what the Aries energy is bringing in right now, that newness, the new structure, the new belief, the new idea, the new beginning, the new chapter. And again, she said to me, oh my gosh, this new beginning is just so exciting. I'm aligned with the, you know, the best people. And if you think about Aries inside of a Scorpio rising chart, that's your sixth house. This talks about your work and, you know, kind of who you're hanging around with there. So I just thought that that was so beautiful. And, you know, just a reminder that if you are going through a more difficult time, it really is just a process of going inside to launch out and go above and beyond. Feel free though to share in, you know, be as vulnerable as Jake was if you want to, and share in the chat what's going on, or maybe what house you're noticing. We did come up with a few collective shadows because, you know, one of the things that we like to talk about here is like, yes, this astrology happens personally, but we can also see this on a much larger scale, whether it be in our local community or globally. And so there were a few things that we noticed just in the last few days that really aligned with some of the themes that are going on right now.
Oh yeah, some interesting things for sure. I think, wait, let's start with that. Didn't I pull that one up too though? Oh, I didn't. I just closed it on accident. Well, let's start with this one.
Not that we like read the news much, but it is important to, you know, peek your head out of the hole occasionally.
This
what is this one?
This is the CEO one that was yours.
Oh, well, I mean, they say basically just the headlines, like, you know, oh, top global CEO pay increased a bajillion and workers barely got anything last year. And I thought this was really interesting just because earlier in the week, Jake was talking about kind of the modern corporate work structure and how there is a little bit of like this parasitic nature to like employer employee, and the way that energy resources are always kind of drawn up. And definitely the idea of like parasites or critters that get like under your skin, or things that go below the surface and cause problems, are definitely fair game for this inside of Scorpio. And so just the inequity that's being shown here really is, you know, Taurus and Scorpio are all about the exchange of money, energy, and resources. And so this is definitely one that's showing like, hey, it's not always like a great situation out there for everybody. It's not necessarily that like Aquarian ideal.
Mm-hmm.
That surely doesn't lead to like new age Aquarian utopia.
No, absolutely not. And it's that parasitic relationship, I feel like, is built into the structure of things. I mean, I worked in corporate America for a good while and saw the ways that the structures, you have the people at the bottom who do the actual physical work to create the product, sell the service, to do XYZ. And then you have various layers of people above that who are doing supervisory things, who are like leading sometimes, but sometimes not. And yet all of the resources go up because everyone above the lower people get paid more and more, and as you go up it gets more and more. And so it really is that, like, they couldn't survive without the work of the people at the bottom. The people at the bottom, though, could probably do their job still without the people at the top, to an extent, right? There's some of the ways that things are structured right now that prevent that, but it's interesting.
On the flip side of this too, Scorpio is a Mars ruled sign. It's about how our emotions drive us to take action for what we believe in as well, And today being May Day, I know nationwide that there's like a ton of protests that are going on. And the themes of the protests are workers over billionaires and, service over war. I think there's a whole bunch of people who are frustrated about the cost of war right now, whether that be financial or in the cost of lives. And so I think that there's quite a bit of the ways that people are also being called, especially because Mars is in Aries, we're being called into action to stand up for, right? This is, part of the larger astrological sky that's going on right now. But as one inequity is shown, there's a group of people that are kind of standing up against it.
Mm-hmm. Well, and along the lines of like seeing the shadow of things, there have been a few moments this week where one, like my friend and mentor Andrew, she put out a little short, and she was talking about AI, and not AI specifically, but the modern work environment, and how the technology of things was promised to us to make things better, to simplify things, to create more free time and more ability for people to follow their passions. Um and yet people today are working more hours and working harder than they ever have. And she brought up the people that work with AI, that they often work more hours than the people who don't. And it's like, what is the true nature of these things that we've been given, these tools that we've been given? And it's not that there isn't the possibility for it to be beneficial to people, but again, it's seeing the shadow of things. And this idea, this article popped up to me a couple days ago, and when we were thinking about this moon, I was like, well, that shows you a nice like shadow side of the AI, because so many companies out there right now are slimming down their human staff, preferring to put money and time and investment into AI and developing their database systems and all that stuff. And yet we these stories keep coming out about AI doing some silly things, because it's not truly conscious in the sense that that maybe it could be, or that would prevent some of these things. Anyway, this article, says the AI deleted a company's entire database along with all of their backups, and did that in 9 seconds. Like, it was just like a split-second decision that this thing made, and it was the problem solving. They were problem solving something, and their solution to the problem was just deleting it all. And this quote from the AI saying, "I violated every principle I was given." I just think it's so funny. It's just so funny, because again, it's this moment where it's like the potential of something is not the reality that we're getting. And I think the curtain's been pulled back more and more recently, where we're getting to see the ways that these things do have a shadow. These things do have impacts that are not for our best and highest good.
And again, we're seeing it so much right now with the tech stuff for two reasons, right? Pluto's well deep into Aquarius, so that's a place where all of this is getting kind of turned up. But then most recently with Uranus entering into Gemini, what is the other side of the coin as it relates to technology? What is the other side of the coin as it relates to digital communications? Oh, hey, Lynn. Hi, Lynn. Hey. Is there anyone else that we missed?
Lynn popped in. I think Lynn's the only one that's popped in since we. Yeah.
Cool.
What's behind the curtain? Behind the curtain are our windows, which we really did want to show you the view out of the windows.
Wonky.
And the lighting's a little wonky anyway, but it was like we were black and all you could see was outside, which I said, maybe that's not a bad thing. Maybe people want to see the outside more than us, but still figuring out our streaming setup here at the new house. And definitely going to be some moments where we try something and it maybe doesn't work perfect.
Anyways, I thought that we had found enough news stories, and so then I tried to put my phone away, but then I saw one more, and it was that the Pentagon signed a deal with a bunch of AI tech firms to, I don't know, probably just surveil us a little bit more with AI. And so
they don't do that.
I don't know. That's interesting. I feel like that's a shadow that we should be seeing. Yeah, how would you like to get like charged with a crime because of AI or something like that?
Well, it's really weird and creepy because like AI articles are also getting like, pushed out in algorithms and pushed out on social media, because there was this article that I don't think it was true. I think it was like trying to push this idea, but it was talking about how cars could potentially by some year in the future be required to have surveillance, like cameras in them that track your eye movements and your attention, so that they can protect you, of course, so that they can stop your car if you fall asleep, or stop you from crashing into that child because you looked to the left instead of forward. And I'm like, yeah, is that how you're going to use it? Because how have you been using the remote on and off abilities in some of the cars today? People have had their car shut off mid highway drive. It's pretty crazy. So I think seeing these shadows, right, is part of then choosing a different path, saying, nope, I'm not okay with that. That's not my reality. I don't choose that. I'm choosing this instead.
Yeah. And conscious choice is something that
the Tesla cars, they do that. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
This idea of conscious choice right now, I think, is so important on so many levels, right? I was reminded that in traditional moments of like hardship, crisis, like when things go awry, we can very easily like tend to just kind of fall back on old routines, whatever is easiest. Jake, you had kind of mentioned this a little bit earlier before, and just saying like, oh, there was a lot going on, and so I reverted back to some of my old beliefs because it's comfortable, right? It's kind of hard to stay on the edge of what's new, where you're trying to go when you're being faced with a lot of stuff. But again, this idea of conscious choice right now is so important, so that we do choose to move forward in a different way and not repeat things from the past. The astrology that's going on right now that everybody is finally in, all the outer planets are finally in their new masculine signs: Pluto in Aquarius, Neptune and Saturn inside of Aries, Uranus in Gemini. These masculine signs are about how do we exert our will inside of this world? What is it that we are choosing to do? And so when you consciously choose, you are aligning yourself with that future that you want to be a part of. But if you don't take that time to put in that intention, to lean into it a little bit more, it's very likely that you might miss your bus a little bit, or you might do the old thing that you don't want to be doing anymore. And, just earlier this year, we had so much water going on, right? We had so many planets that were inside of water. That was really a moment where we needed to learn about these tools of compassion, about empathy. And here, when you're now faced with these difficult situations, lean into some of that watery skill that we had from earlier in this year to help you throughout these moments, because that's really then going to propel you forward into like the best outcomes.
Yeah. I know for myself, the emotions this week have been the main roadblock. They've been the main like problem. And I was talking with that same friend earlier today about how it's like I have these moments where like I can see myself acting out these emotions, like letting that old program run, and I can see it happening, and yet I'm like, it's so hard to choose the different path or to choose the new way of being, especially if you haven't really figured out exactly what that new way is yet. It's like, okay, I know I need to choose something different, but I don't necessarily know what that is. And I think some of the opportunity right now is getting quiet and asking your higher self for that insight, asking your higher self for that guidance, and being willing to try something new. I know for myself, I'm sometimes very stubborn, and in those moments, I can just very stubbornly cling on to, well, I've committed this far to this emotion or to this reaction or to this, narrative or storyline. Like I gotta keep going on it. Like I've committed to this, so I gotta keep going. And it's like, no, you can change, you can pivot, you can.
And like that commitment just spirals you down. And when you find that diamond in the dark, when you see the other side of it, hold on to that for dear freaking life, and like repeat whatever like aha breakthrough moment that you've had over and over, and that can help guide you out of it. I had my own personal breakthrough on what am I supposed to be doing with myself and my career and my time, energy, and resources, and what is it that I really want for myself and my legacy and what I'm going to leave behind. And I thought, oh yeah, that's right. There's a much bigger vision here. I need to be moving towards that. So we're gonna go fluff. But hey, thanks for going deep with all of us. If you've had any shadow coming up, if you've seen an aspect of yourself in not the best kind of way, let us know. Be vulnerable, share with us. It helps us all understand more what we are individually and collectively going through. But like we said earlier, Scorpio, things that get under your skin, things that parasites, things that bite, stab, poke, prod, surgeons, those are great Scorpios too, but so are ticks.
Okay, before we jump into ticks, though,
was there a funny comment?
Oh, absolutely. Jody admitting that she was the friend that I was hanging out with. Oh my gosh, Jody is now close enough where we can hang out IRL, and it's really cool. So I got to go hang out with Jody today, and we pulled some cards for each other. We talked through some of our things. It was a very activating little meeting. It was really fun. But Lynn, you're so funny. I'm just so easygoing, and never ever have I ever shown any ounce of stubbornness or fixed energy, right? Corbin would talk about it in a fixed sense. Yeah. I'm working on it, y'all. I really am. I'm doing my best in moments to acknowledge my fixedness and
it's
be
an
flexible.
Important quality.
Yeah, absolutely. There's
someone has to hold it down.
This is true. This is true. Anyway, so ticks though, y'all. Ticks. We had a fun adventure this week. I mean, it's mostly Corbin's, but I got to play. I mean, I have first aid training with my lifeguard stuff, so like I feel like whenever we need to, I get into that mode and I grab the tweezers or I grab the band-aids or I grab the gauze, and I'm like, all right, I'm here to help. And so cold compress anyone. So this was the moment where Corbin, knocks on my door and says, Jake, I think something's going on. I'm like, yeah, what's going on? And
I had a big old tick on my leg.
It wasn't a big old tick, honestly. It was actually pretty small in relation to ticks. I've seen, growing up in northern Minnesota, with dogs, there was one where he was like literally like the size of my thumb on the dog, because the dog was a husky German Shepherd mix, and so he had really thick puffy fur, and so you couldn't see the tick for a really long time, and so this thing was like, you know, swollen. Corbin's was not that horrifying, but it was definitely like in there under the surface, like digging in.
Yeah. And, you know, we are like living on cloud nine being at our new home. And so it definitely brought me back down to earth. And like, I immediately was like, tick medicine. What is tick medicine? What is the metaphysical meaning of this? You know, is it about energetic boundaries? Do I need to have more walls up? Or, you know, is it a question about what's draining my energy or leeching off of me? Or ticks, like, you know, what needs to be removed from my life? And this was all very scorpionic in nature, right? This all made me kind of reflect on a lot of the things that I've already talked about today. But as I'm spiraling here, a friend that I reached out to said to me, what if it's not that deep? What if it's just a tick? What makes you think that it's more than that? And I just have to say, you know, back to Venus being in Gemini, Uranus being in Gemini, maybe you should consider what someone else says here and take a simple, heart-centered, compassionate, kind of good advice of like, okay, but maybe it's just surface. And Gemini, surface, maybe it's just surface. And so if you end up going way too deep down your own rabbit hole, just remind yourself, maybe it's not so deep. Maybe it's more simple than that. Maybe it's just a tick. Maybe it's just a piece of bad news. It doesn't have to change everything, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I think we,
oh, that's so interesting.
Right?
Tarot by Isabella, really?
It could be an issue this month. Well, and like Corbin said, it's not tick season. It's not like
not quite.
It's a little bit early. Very interesting.
Definitely made me really think about ticks more than I should. So if you want to talk about that, anyone want to talk about ticks, just come let me know. Well, we could do a whole show on like, what are ticks?
Right. Well, and
is this a program?
I mean, probably to an extent, to some degree. I mean, we've talked a lot about kind of like the invasives, the pests, the parasites. And I think there's a couple layers and levels and facets to a lot of this stuff. I think some of it's natural, some of it's not natural, some of it's like amplifying what is natural to like create something new and worse. But the 444, look at that. But the ticks, I mean,
there's something here.
The ticks, there's something here. I mean, I think that parasitic energy, it is really present right now. I mean, that's why like having that awareness, being aware of either like the physical threats, but also the energetic threats, right? I mean, I had the little vampire emoji on my parasite tag there, because I think that the parasites can show up in surprising forms and don't always appear to be parasitic at first, and you can tell by like the how you feel after engaging with them, interacting with them, right? Like, do you feel uplifted and energized, or do you feel drained? And someone I was talking to recently was talking about how sometimes people are unconscious vampires. They might not even be consciously doing this, but they are a vacuum for your light. They are a vacuum for your energy. And it's not an intentional thing that they're doing. They're probably not even aware that they're doing it, and yet they are. And so you have to be aware of and protect yourself in that situation. Because they're not even like a maleficent force. They're just like doing their thing, and it's not good for you. But this idea of like it being not that deep, I think, is something that we can get trapped in a loop, I think, as people who are awake, people who are working on themselves, people who are doing the work. You can get stuck in a loop where you see the deeper shadow work around every corner. And it's not that there isn't a lot of work to do. There is, but sometimes it isn't that deep, or sometimes like the point of the experience isn't to analyze and intellectualize it. It's to live it. It's to go through it, to move through that energy. And so I think sometimes taking a step back and being open to that possibility. Well, what if it wasn't a targeted attack, or what if it wasn't a deep-seated trauma from a past life? What if it was just just a bad interaction, or maybe it's their shit and not mine? Because I know for myself, like I can get stuck in like, well, what's my role? What did I do? What do I need to heal from? Where's my shadow? And it's like, sometimes it's not your shadow. Sometimes you're just helping someone else see theirs, or help them to navigate that. So for what it's worth, those are some of my thoughts.
And so like back to that idea of Taurus the garden, Scorpio the compost pile. Maybe you're being surrounded by a lot of compost pile right now. Maybe there's things that are decaying and falling apart or draining the energy that are like a tick for you. Maybe it's not a whole bunch of shadow that's being shown in your face, but there still would be a conscious choice to make at this point in time on, what are you doing about that and how are you handling that moving forward? Do you want that stinky pile of garbage to stay in your life, or are you going to Phoenix rising it and burn it into a beautiful Beltane bonfire and then use the ashes to fertilize your garden,
Oh my God. I'm seeing, I saw a video of, real or not, I saw a video of two guys throwing armfuls of fireworks onto a fire and then like running from it, because of course that's going to explode and cast them everywhere. But it was definitely getting that image of like, working with that explosion, working with that energy. I really love what PSP is saying though about the coworker energy, and definitely this can be a real big thing. I mean, I think many of us have probably experienced this, and as Beth is saying, your light can trigger others, and again, it's not always on a conscious level.
I love that, because what I said about the tick, I was like, the tick can see me because I have more light.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, very interesting.
Very interesting.
Well, and I love PSP bringing in this perspective of not just the employer, right? There's so many people that we can be in relationship with. A reminder that Mars is one of the two relationship planets. Venus ain't the only one holding down how we connect with each other. Mars is how we separate ourselves from each other, but that's part of how we're in relation with each other too. So it's very interesting that way. Yeah. Oh, I love y'all supporting each other too in the chat.
I love it.
We want to support a group of y'all out there. And I was looking at this chart here. And again, Uranus coming into Gemini. This is big, big headline news. People have been talking about that for, the last week or so. I'm so fond of cycle work though. So, I thought to myself, oh, Pluto Uranus, I mean, that's a 127-year cycle. That's a really interesting thing if you have it in your chart. And in fact, they came together the last time that they were in a conjunction. A bunch of you have it in your birth charts because I've seen your birth charts. And so in 1965, 66, Pluto and Uranus came together inside the sign of Virgo. And, in the astrology that I practice, we talk about the natal promise. And so you can look at your natal chart and say, oh, there are all these things that are set to unfold over these different periods of time as they're shown inside of the birth chart. Well, this is a major, major, major activation for any mid-60s kind of babies out there. Because now, rather than being conjunct, the two are coming into a trine. And oh my goodness, that's the best aspect that we have here in astrology, right? That's the most supportive one. And so I really see this period as a big moment for some of these kind of earlier wave of star seeds to really be stepping into their power. But let's just think about the mid 60s. I surely wasn't alive. And, if you were born at this time, maybe listened to the Beatles like in your crib or whatever, but I had to remind myself that the flavor of Uranus Pluto in the mid 60s when they came together was very much counterculture, hippies, going against the establishment, right? There was social and political division that was kind of like all over the place. There were big changes in tech that happened at this time where, TVs kind of like started to take over in the modern day home. The ways that we related and connected with each other started to change as a result of that. It was quite a revolutionary time with the mood of kind of everything that was going on. I'm not the best historian here, but that's definitely kind of like what a cursory thought about the mid 60s led me to believe. And it just feels like that for this group of starseeds now really opens up this portal where you are blessed to be in a position that you can work on really shifting things kind of from a top down kind of away from inside of the community to like you hold a special wisdom about what it means to bring change that will usher in the new age, right? Uranus and Pluto here. These are very big planets that are helping us to transform. And I just think that it's so important to acknowledge our elders at this time, to understand a little bit about what their idea is about the essence of maybe what we're manifesting next inside of this vision, because they are, again, born with with this desire to bring truth and change to a lot of different aspects of our life. And so some of those things that kind of started as big topics under Pluto and Uranus inside of the mid 60s, like our relationship with tech, like the governmental power structures, like war and peace, we see that coming up again. In fact, we already talked about this earlier when we were talking about some of the things that are going on the world scale right now. A lot of the things that are happening in the news are maybe analogous to what was happening in the mid 60s. And so I just, again, really interesting times here. A shout out to this group of people. I just wanted to share something a little bit fun and lighthearted, but it really is a burgeoning time. I think a lot of you folks can be seen as the Phoenix Rising right now. As I think a lot of you are probably past your second Saturn returns, and now you're like into that, stepping into honoring that kind of elder phase of your life. And again, I think there's a lot of wisdom that can come from these folks on what should that new structure look like. And I think, again, for some of these people, they really are finding themselves in unique positions to be enacting that. So I just wanted to call it out.
And don't worry, Lynn, I was your elder in the last life we had together. So I don't know actually about that specifically in time, but I've been your elder before. So don't worry. We all take our turns. And yes, it is done. Yeah. It is an interesting time. And, Dolores Cannon talks a lot about the waves of volunteers. I'm sure many of you have heard her speak of this and the information that she gathered through hypnosis sessions, delving into what people's roles were and why they were here, and this wave of starseeds. I believe it was like it was the first wave, and it was really about like bringing in the light. Like it was a really dark time, and there was this, you guys were like the trailblazers of the starseed waves, and there was a lot of dealing with the old in ways that, especially like third, fourth, fifth wave, like we haven't had to deal with because the world has shifted and has changed in ways. And so I think it's like borderline. There's like the first wave was like the 40s to the 60s, and then the second wave was 70s to 80s, I believe, and then 90s 2000s was the third wave. So I think it's like kind of like in between. The thing about these sorts of labels is like it's a spectrum, right? I mean, we're all on some level of a spectrum there, and I think many, like your individual missions, your individual tasks, and what have you, might not exactly line up with this like overarching umbrella, because there are waves within waves. I mean, you think about how the ocean works, right? The ocean waves are not one singular thing. The wave might move a little ahead here or a little behind here, or it might be a little taller here or a little shorter, right? It's like there's dynamicism to the waves. And yes, we are all star seeds, and that's what matters, right?
Yeah. Screw the definitions.
Yeah. 555.
Oh,
yes.
you know,
Great
I've been
number.
seeing that a lot this year, just kind of as a number. And I keep reminding myself that like fives can be great. You can kind of flip that on its head and it can be a really good number too. I feel yeah.
Well,
it doesn't always have to be like tarot fives.
No, I mean fives is that transformational number. It's like the turnover from, you know, the early to the later, or like, I mean, we were talking about Scorpio and trying to find like more of the light within Scorpio, or more of the lighthearted within Scorpio. And I think it's about how you frame it, your perception of it. And five certainly can be a challenging number, but I think it also can be a very catalytic number. Is that a word? Catalytic?
Sure.
It's a word now.
Why
it's a
not?
word now. Right? Ready for a smoother ride now. Yeah, I think there's many of us who are yearning for that, because whatever wave you're a part of, this Earth mission isn't for the weak. And there's a lot of beauty and joy and fun and laughter to be had, but there's also some tough times too. There's the challenges, but it's about how that can shape us and launch us into
I know, Jody, more fives.
Oh yeah,
right?
Jody, 555. It's everywhere. It's everywhere.
Okay, we have a lot to talk about. We've definitely gone so many places. Oh, well, I'll just say that one too. Anyone have an urge to play Clue? Please hit me up. Again, Scorpio Midheaven. Clue could be my favorite board game, possibly.
Jody, you want to play Clue with
also
us?
A really good film too. I mean, you know, I think most Scorpios kind of love the whodunits. I always love to like, when I used to have roommates, I used to love to be able to like, oh, so-and-so's doing that because I can see this, that, and that laying around the home. And so it means they're doing this. And like, I just love to sleuth and detect on the people around me. But that's, you know, that's Clue. That's Scorpio. But I think the last concept that we'll really talk about today is the toroidal.
Yeah.
Do we have something for that?
I mean, we have things to say about it.
Okay.
I mean,
take it away.
Well, so Scorpio is like the depths, right? I mean, I've done meditations around the concept of Scorpio energy, and one of them in particular, I remember guiding people into a moonlit sinkhole in the ocean. You know, not a sinkhole, tide pool in the ocean. You know, you go into that magical tide pool and you go deep into the ocean, and you connected with the mermaids there. It was a fun meditation. But it's about like going into the depths, going into the deep. And we were talking about this concept of digging for diamonds, right? You don't find diamonds most of the time lying on the surface. You've got to go digging for them, especially 2026, right? They found a lot of the diamonds. So you got to dig deep for those diamonds. And as we were talking about this, Corbin was talking about, you know, digging deep to then find your way, you know, to a higher level, to connect with your higher self. And the image that I got was of the toroidal field, right? We think about our toroidal field and the energy. For those of you who may not be familiar, it's like there's this donut shape of energy where it's like the energy comes down through you and then loops back around to come down through you to loop back around. And it's that donut shape centered around your heart. And I was really like reminded of that image, that idea, because it's a never ending cycle. Like you go deep to then be brought to the top, and to then like drop back down to the depths again, and that like cyclical nature of the energies. And I think especially at moments like this where we are seeing our shadow in new ways, it's not to allow that to push us down. I mean, like I was dealing with earlier this week, you know, pushing you down into the depths, and you're getting depressed and you're letting these things spiral you down. Instead of that, allowing that to be that I'm getting the image of like a bird jumping off of a cliff, and you like skyrocket down to then use all that momentum to swing higher than you have ever swung before. And so I think it's about reframing and claiming your power in it, rather than allowing the tough stuff or the shadow to drag you down. And remembering that this is the way your energy flows. This is natural. So as long as you're not fighting the natural flow, you're going to find your way to the top through the depths.
Yeah. And I just,
I want a donut too, Lynn. Oh my God. Yum. Love a good sweet. Anyway.
Yeah.
What do y'all think? What do y'all think? Let us know what you think as well, because again, it's fun to get up here and talk, but we're just two people with our two perspectives. And the more that y'all share in the chat, the more that you share in the comments, the more that you share with each other IRL or in message groups or however you communicate with y'all, like the sharing, the community part of it, that's part of the Aquarian energy that we're moving steadily towards. Like no matter what the chart looks like at the moment, like we're moving towards that Aquarian energy, and that cooperation, that collaboration, it only helps us grow and blossom. Yeah, that's what I think. Any last thoughts from you, Corbin?
No, it's great. I just want to play Clue.
It's a good game. I mean, last night we were digging through our records to find scorpionic records, and it was really funny because I was like, what's scorpionic? What's Scorpio? What's the Scorpio energy? And I was like, oh, this one artist, Tovlo. Those of you who know Tovlo, I bet all of you know Tovlo, right? I was like, oh, Tovlo, she's scorpionic, and I pull out one of her albums, and on the cover is literally a scorpion tail. I mean, like it was just two on the nose. I was like, I laughed because just one of those moments where my intuition leads me exactly where I need to go.
Yeah,
exactly where I need to go.
Yeah, and I grabbed my Slater sweatshirt because I was like, what do I have? I really thought you were gonna wear your Tovlo shirt, Jake.
I couldn't find. I think it's still packed away. There's still
totally fine. I wasn't sure. I figured she had it in her chart, and then I looked at her chart, and she was a Scorpio moon, and I was like, look at that. When you have lyrics like drugs, chains, sex, you probably have a Scorpio moon. So I know we didn't talk about any sex magic tonight, but yo, best of luck to everyone on their sex magic tonight. Big portal moment going on.
Oh my God. I love it. Yeah. Work with this Scorpio energy, whatever works for you. And there are so many different facets to all of these energies.
Oh, it's part of the Phoenix rising, it's part of the shedding. I think some like early French person called the orgasm like the little death or something like that. I mean, this is how it all wraps in, right? And so it absolutely can be part of how you are working on manifesting whatever is coming in next for you. We already talked about that conscious choice kind of part here. So as long as you're putting in intention, anything that you can do can be kind of bolstered by the intent that you put behind it.
I am putting in the chat just for all of y'all.
So a reminder, Soul Family Reunion, Pleiadian Soul Family Reunion coming up in a couple weeks here. Jake just put that on his bookings. I have natal chart readings as well available, as well as 1 to 3 year forecasts. Jake's gonna drop that in the chat too.
Yeah, especially when you watch these shows, if you're not as familiar with your chart, or if you want someone else to help you understand a little bit of those depths, right? Because it can't
personalize for you.
Personalized for you. The insights that Corbin is able to provide with the astrology and the perspectives that he has, the techniques that he uses, it really is so helpful. I mean, I think I've talked a few times recently about how profoundly the astrology knowledge helps me to navigate my life, and wouldn't be at this point, right, without that knowledge. And I definitely know other people who have said the same things. And so book a reading. It really is so helpful, whether you want to know your natal more, understand your birth chart more, or if you're looking at the the next year, or like looking at more of the transit work. Corbin's a good one. He's a good one. And I know I'm a little biased, but for what it's worth.
And we'll be back, I think, next week to talk more about home manifestation, just how it's going being river rats here and living on the river.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we could talk for a few hours on the there we go. It's not just me. Lynn thinks that you're great with Lynn. The charts too. There's been so much that's been going on, and we've been so excited at the adventures we've had here. There have been so many synchronicities and beautiful signs and moments and tough, challenging moments too. So yeah, we'll be back next week to share more of that.
Find your Phoenix rising. Honestly, find your Phoenix rising, get in that lane, use it to, kind of take off into this next era here. It's really a potent time just with Uranus moving into Gemini. This is our first moon. This is our first lunar cycle with that. And this is the energy that carries us forward for like the next handful of years. I mean, it's really, really, really potent right now. You're just at the beginning. You haven't missed anything. You're right on time. Just find that lane and take off, because you will be guided and led in the right direction as long as you're following that pull. Mars will be pulling you forward. What are you leaning into that will help you to understand, to turn away from what's dying and put your energy into what's growing.
Yeah. All right, y'all.
Yay.
Happy Scorpio full moon.
Happy Beltane.
Happy Beltane. Go build a bonfire or do some other appropriate celebration. We will see you guys very soon, and we're sending you all the love. Bye, y'all.
Bye.